Anyway, I need to go ahead and preach now, but the funny thing happened is we went over by the car, and the owner came over, and my brother said, how do you start this thing? He said, have you ever drove a standard shift? And my brother said, yeah. He said, have you ever drove an automatic? My brother said, yeah. He said, forget everything you've ever learned about driving. He said, don't think about how you drive, your standards in your auto. This thing is completely different. He said, what you think is the brake is the speed of it. What you think is going to stop it ain't going to stop it. He said, what you think is forward, reverse. He said, this thing. He said, and my brother said, going, and he showed him all the things. It's just, I mean, it's another world inside a T model. And so he says, I'm taking too much time, but he says, look, if you want to start it, you get out here on the front of it. He said, don't hold it like this. He said, hold it like this. Make sure your thumb is underneath that. He said, you pull it one time, pull your hand back, the thing will start, and it'll beat you to death. He said, whatever you do, he said, make sure you got a block on the front wheel. When you start it, he said, it'll run over you. That thing will kill you. You got to understand, my brother has just bought a killer. And this guy is describing it. It's painted black. It looks like a nightmare to begin with. And my brother says, how fast does this thing go? He said, well, said now in this one gear, he said it'll get up to 8 miles. He said, once it gets to going, said you push it down. He said, it'll get up about 35, but it won't stay there very long. It overheats. He said his best operating range is around 20, 25. He said, but you don't want to go too far at that speed either. And he's telling him all about how to operate this new high-dollar machine he's just bought. And the way you check the oil in it is you climb up underneath it and you turn this little cockpit. If oil runs out, there's plenty in there. If it don't run out, put some more in. He said you'll know when it's just running just right because there'll be some water and steam coming out to hit the cap up here. You'll know it's running. I said once you get steam, he said don't worry about it because after a while it'll just shut down, won't run no more. He ain't gonna hurt it. My brother looking at me. He said, Arthur, you understand it? I said, yeah, I got it. He said, can you start this thing? I said, sure. He said, can you I said, no problem. My brother just, yeah, he said, parts, it's just a true story. Everything I'm telling you is true. He said, parts are easy to come by. I said, they're as cheap as a Volkswagen. I'm using up a lot of valuable time here. I didn't mean to, but I'm going to give you this word in a little bit. Oh, I'm telling you the truth. Let's see. And the steering wheel. Has anybody ever seen a T model? The steering wheel's got the little button on you push, and the whole steering wheel kind of comes up over the left like that. That ought to be an indicator right there. It says it's going to take some screwed up head to drive this thing. And see the oil and oh, by the way, he said, how you check the gas in it? He pulled up the front seat and had a paint stick there. Said you stick it in like this, and it's got 2.5 gallons in it. Put the paint stick back there. He said, he showed us the throttle and the spark advancer or something other. He said, you put this thing in right here. He said, you hold it here and you go down the road. And when it starts spitting and carrying on like that, you just change it. He said, it sounds like it's going to die on you. He said, it ain't going to die on you. He just keep on. It said, oh, by the way, when you get ready to start it said, you turn the key over this way for a while. And when it runs a while, you turn it back over that way for a while. When it starts spitting and sputtering and it starts wanting down, you feel like it starts popping and backfiring. And then you flip it back over here for a while. And then when it starts backfiring there, you spend most of your time just turning it. You got to have 6 people to drive this one thing, Just put a brand new top on it. It's one-man convertible top. He said, it's one-man deal. He said, not so. He said, this thing takes 3 men to put it on. He turned to my brother. He said, do you have a trailer? He said, how are you going to get it home? My brother looked at that man. He looked at me and he said, man, I don't want this thing. I don't want it. He said, I'm going to run it back through the auction. Bottom line, he paid the guy $500 to take it back. We've decided this is how he makes his living. Selling this team, he's probably sold it 100 times already. You ready for that word I was going to give you? I'm going to give the word. I'm ready now. If you're ready, say, I'm ready.
Ready.
Jim Newton, you didn't say a word. I saw you. I'm watching you, son. You're the one I said don't give his word to. Here it is. Don't ever forget it. The reserve has been lifted. Oh, my. So I told my brother, he's bought this T model. I said, you're the only one in our family besides Daddy's ever owned T model. I said, Doug, when are you going to have another social? He's always having the family get together at his house. I said, let's have one real soon. Won't you serve T-bone steaks? And Chopper said, yeah, how about some iced tea? Then we'll spend the night and get up in the morning and go golfing and get a tea time. We had more fun.